We all love a good underdog story, and we all love football. And when those two marry together, it's a beautiful thing to watch. And we catch this a lot in training camp as we watch our prospects blossom, climb the depth chart. And also during the NFL draft, there's players that are highly rated throughout their collegiate career that just fall in the draft. Sometimes it's medical reasons, sometimes it's off the field reasons, sometimes we don't even understand it. But we had a big faller in this year's draft due to a medical reason. Everybody loved this running back. Fun to watch. One of the best running backs in college football. Productive. Looks good on film. Everything you want from a running back. And that was Sean Tucker. He had a heart condition that came out right before draft season and then caused his stock to plummet. Went undrafted. Then got picked up by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A lot of college football aficionados, a lot of NFL fans are watching this guy to see what he does, and he's been climbing the depth chart. Recently, it's been reported that he's been working with the first team. There's been some drills, some series where he's switching off and on with Rachaad White. Rachaad White will get touches in the start of the drive. Sean Tucker will finish it up. And he's been looking good in preseason games. Things are looking like it's on the up and up. And he's climbing the depth chart pretty quickly here. We're not even the week 3 in preseason. And we already hearing things that he is working his way up. There's a lot of upside to this player. And if you haven't heard about him, we're going to look at the stats. But before we do, you have to hit that subscribe button right now. Give it a good click with the mouse, tap with the fingers, stop missing out on these players, these prospects that you're drafting in fantasy football. It's only going to help you build your teams. It's going to help you with the draft. It's going to help you with the waiver wire, and we're going to do this all season long, all year long. College, redraft, Devy, Dynasty, we do all of it here. You're going to need this. Hit that button, stop missing out. But when we look at the stats here for Sean Tucker, one thing you're going to notice here, he's very productive, very efficient. 3.51 yards after contact per attempt on his career. Last year, 10.7 yards after the catch per reception because he was used more in the passing game last year. That's why his rushing attempts were down. They were just throwing it a little bit more. And he was still productive. 1,400 yards, almost 1,500 yards during his sophomore season. That's when everybody was talking him up big time. 1,500 rushing yards, 12 touchdowns. He was blowing up 1,700 total yards that year. Then the next year, people were scratching their heads. Why was the production lower? He was running more routes. He was on the field running more routes, saw 55 targets, and had an 8 out of 2. That means he was running routes downfield. That is very encouraging for a running back prospect to run routes downfield because that means they can be heavily involved in the passing game. The targets were off on a lot of the throws that came his way. I imagine the reception total would have been a little bit higher, probably 40-50 range if he had better quarterback play coming there because some of those targets over the middle were off. They were behind him a little bit high. But still, he can also get you yards after catch per reception. So them dump offs could mean that he could be housing a few of those, getting you some gains. And then decent between the tackles. Not the greatest running back there, but he is proven to be productive. Proven to be a quick running back. He's got some burst, wiggle, everything you want, really. He should have been drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round. The Buccaneers got him for free. Looking at his draft portfolio here, 5'9", 207. Did not get drafted. The Bucs don't have that sunk cost wrapped on him, but they also got him for free, and they're not afraid to use him because he's good. He's a good running back. He'd be drafted in fantasy drafts right now. In redraft, you'd be clamoring him in the middle rounds like you are with the other running backs. But right now, he's free. He is free. And looking at his athletic profile here, 86th percentile speed score, 90th percentile 40 with a 4.44. These numbers came from Pro Day self-admitted combines. You can check those out on your own. But the thing about this, we go back to the tape, dude's explosive. He's housing runs, catching balls, breaking off DBs, breaking off linebackers, looking good, and he's a guy that can step in there. He's a guy that can really come out of nowhere and really be a factor in fantasy, and a guy that no one's drafting. And we're looking here at the Tampa Bay's opportunity metrics here, the opportunity share. Leonard Fournette's gone. That's 27% of the team's opportunity out of the backfield. Targets, touches, snaps, gone. And not all that's going to go to Rachaad White. Some of those have to go to other running backs. Sean Tucker's perfect for that. Sean Tucker's good enough to really outperform Rachaad White, especially he gets back to playing like he was in 2021. And like last year too, he's a very, very, very good running back prospect. The only reason why he fell in the draft is because of the heart condition. Teams did not want to touch that. We were predicting that. We knew he was going to fall in the draft because of that, and it happened. But that does not mean he's not a good running back. And the fact that he's able to climb the depth chart so quickly here in training camp and look good is just more confirmation that he's got the skills to do some things. And he's getting hot right now. We need to be talking about him. He's not being drafted right now in redraft leagues. Underdog Best Ball, no ADP. No ADP, so that's going to say that there's no ADP anywhere else. We're going to see ADP here soon over the next few days and weeks. Once we get closer, we're hot in the draft season right now. Once we get even hotter in the draft season, I expect him to be a late round get in some of these drafts. You may want to think about it, or you may want to hover over him off the waiver wire in a lot of your leagues. You need to pay attention to him. You need to be watching him. You need to be seeing what type of touches and how many touches he gets out of that backfield. I expect the pace here in Tampa Bay to slow down a lot. I mean, you're going from Tom Brady to Baker Mayfield. You're definitely going to get a lot less pass attempts per game. You're going from 700 pass attempts to 500 to 600. You're going to get a slower pace. That's going to impact everybody on the offense, even Sean Tucker, because there's going to be less plays ran. But even at that, opportunity and touches gives running backs fantasy points. Every time they touch the ball, they're scoring one way or another, negatively or positively. But the odds are, if you're getting a bulk of touches, even if you're not efficient, you're scoring fantasy points, and you're going to want that. The bottom dwellers on your league, they're going to want that. The top tier teams in your league, they're going to want that. But you're going to need them because you want the unknown upside. Depth chart's looking juicy right now. The competition's pretty hot with Rachaad White, but it's also a little bit ambiguous. Could be just a 1A and 1B situation, and he's good enough to take over. He's that type of good. He is that type of good. We just got to see what's up with him once we get into live action, and he could take over and be a top running back. He could be a top 5 running back. He could be a top 10 running back, top 12. He could really be that productive, and he's a guy you can't sleep on. He could just be that late round gem in your league. He would be that guy that comes out of nowhere and takes over, because everyone was projecting that for years. And then the only thing that caused him to fall, the only thing that caused us to be iffy was a heart condition that's now over with, or that's supposed to be over with, and now he's back on the field. He's climbing the depth chart. UDFAs don't usually climb the depth chart this quick. Sean Tucker's like, hey, I'm still good. I'm still balling. For the reasons why you don't need him, like we talk about all these other prospects, I can't really find a reason because he's so cheap. He's free. Roster spot, maybe. Maybe you got another player you like better on your roster. Maybe you have shallow benches. I don't know, but he's so cheap it doesn't matter. Like, say it doesn't end up working, and say he's only getting 5 touches a game or 5 snaps a game, and Tampa Bay is very slow, horrible offense, not even worth your time even if he's playing well. He's so cheap it doesn't matter. You can just flip him, turn him, burn him, do whatever you want. There's no loss. There's no loss because he's so free and cheap. And when you're that cheap, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter in fantasy. But it does matter when you're looking at upside for a prospect like this. When you have nuclear upside and you're dirt free, you're cheap, and you can just be picked up. You have to look at that. You have to at least notice it. You have to be aware that a player like that is on your waiver wire and he's just glowing right now, and you never know when he's going to go off. Something happens to Rachaad White and he gets an opportunity. That could be his job forever. That could happen. We saw that at Syracuse. If you don't know much about Sean Tucker, you need to go pay attention to him. Go look him up. Go watch the highlights. I had him rolling here on the screen so you know what he looks like. But we're talking about a big deal running back who would have had good draft capital that you would have been drafting in the middle rounds of this draft right now if it weren't for that heart condition. But instead, he's going undrafted. Might be getting drafted by the time you watch this. But still, a player you need to pay attention to. Watch him in the preseason games. Pay attention to him. Very good running back prospect. Very, very, very good running back prospect who's going to sneak up on people if he gets touches and if this offense can move. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I want to hear about that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Catch you on the next video.